Hello everyone, it's Robin the Delta Crafter and I want to thank you for joining me for another video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a card using some hot foil and my Glimmer machine. Let's take a look at the products we'll be using. First up is the Snowflakes hot foil plate from Hurley and Spellbinders. This is a brand new line of products that's launching today, and I'll be sure to leave some links below in the description so that you can grab some. I'll also be using the Joyful Christmas Sentiments. This set is one of my favorites because it's a two-piece set. It's a hot foil plate as well as a coordinating die that will cut out all those sentiments. You can see there in my pocket, I've already gone to town with that set. I brought in some nested rectangle dies as well as some beautiful Aura Glimmer foil. That's also from Spellbinders. That's what we'll be hot foiling everything with today. Let's go ahead and jump into the card and get started. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hot foil our background panel. I'm going to be using that Snowflakes hot foil plate. Here's a closer look at this plate. You can see all the geometric shapes that repeating snowflake pattern creates. This is a very, very beautiful plate, and you can use it with so many different colors of foil. So you can see I've already pre-cut my piece of foil, and I'm going to put that down on my plate. One thing that I really like about this plate is it's just a little bit larger than an A2 size panel, which means that you can get a really good impression when you hot foil an A2 size card panel. So I'm going to make a little sandwich here. I make sure that I put my hot foil with the pretty side down against the hot foil plate. Then I put my piece of cardstock on top of that. Now I'm placing my thin shim and my regular Glimmer shim, and I'm going to go ahead and push the timer button on my machine. I'm bringing that back, and now let's take a look at the results that I was able to get with this Glimmer plate. One of my tips for using the Glimmer machine is just making sure that you turn your machine on and allow it to heat up for several minutes before you actually want to use it. When your machine is nice and heated up, you are able to get the best results possible with your hot foiling. And just by the way, I'm using a piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in 80-pound cardstock for my hot foiling. And as you can see here, I got excellent results using that paper. I love using my Neenah Classic Crest cardstock for my hot foiling. You see that piece that I pulled off that I'm showing you right there? That used to go in the trash, but now with a solid hot foil plate, this one happens to be from Pink Fresh Studio, but Spellbinders has several of them as well, and they have them in different shapes, so I plan to pick up some of those. They have oval and round and everything. But anyway, so the solid hot foil plate allows you to take your what would have been discarded and turn that into another piece of foiled cardstock. So you can see I put my my foil down, shiny side against the plate, or the pretty side against the plate. I put a piece of cardstock on there. That's Neenah Classic Crest Solar White. And then I put my shims on top, press my timer button. When the time has elapsed, I take everything over to my die cutting machine and run it through. And now you can see what we get when we use that solid hot foil plate. So again, this piece would have, the foil would have gone into the trash, but now we've gotten a 2-for-1 out of our Glimmer foil. I absolutely love having the solid hot foil plates. So for the card, I'm going to be taking the original hot foil panel that we made, and I'm going to be cutting a rectangle out of that. That's going to be our hot foiled kind of main panel for our background. So I'm just sizing up my rectangles here because I want to get as much of this as possible to be a part of my panel. You can see there that my hot foiling wasn't exactly straight. It was just askew just a little bit. But no worries, that's what having these rectangle dies is for. It can help us kind of shore that up and straighten up our panel so that we get the best results for our card. So I'm going to be making like an ornament for the focal point of this card. So I'm going to bring in some circles. I know I didn't mention that earlier, but sometimes when you're creating and crafting, your ideas and things just kind of change, and you got to go with the punches. So I'm going to bring in a couple of circles, and what I want is I want to make a little bit of a white separator between the background panel, and then I'm going to use that second foil panel for the ornament. So I was just sizing up the circle there to see what size circle would fit nicely in our rectangular shaped panel. So I'm going to take both of those over to my die cutting machine and run those through, and here's what we ended up with. So now I'm going to take a second circle, and now this is where we're going to cut from the panel that we made from the solid hot foil plate. So this circle is just a little bit smaller than the first circle that I cut. And notice that I did not tape that die down. The reason why I did not tape it down is because the tape will pull up some of that hot foil rather. So another tip here, don't put tape on your hot foil. So as I said earlier, you can see I went to town hot foiling that Joyful Christmas Sentiments hot foil plate and using the dies to cut them out. I love the way I was able to get a nice little white border around all of the sentiments there. And I also used the solid hot foil plate to get a reverse of the hot foiling as well. So none of my hot foil went to waste. So another tip is I went ahead and used some lesser quality cardstock, some cardstock that I probably wouldn't make cards out of. And I just cut out several of the die sentiments in order to use those to stack up behind my foiled sentiments. This is going to give us great dimension for this card without having to use foam tape or having to cut foam squares in half to fit all the small tiny places. All those sentiments, because I'm using the same die, will fit together nicely and give me a great amount of dimension. So I think I glued about 3 of those sentiments together to give me the final presentation there for the sentiment. So now I'm going to glue my hot foiled circle to my white circle, and that's going to be like the ornament for our card. I'm using some Barely Arts glue. You guys know I love this particular liquid adhesive. Number one, the glue itself is a great adhesive. And number two, that fine tip nozzle is great for getting into small spaces and places. I went ahead and added some of that Barely Arts glue to the back of my hot foiled panel as well. And now I'm going to secure that panel to my card base. My card base is made from Accent Opaque 120-pound weight cardstock. All of the products that I'm using today will be listed and linked below, as well as on my coordinating blog post, where you'll have a couple more pictures to look at as well. I did decide to go ahead and pop up our ornament, so there's a couple of pieces of foam tape on the back of that ornament, and now I'm just placing it down and securing it to our card. I brought in the Barely Arts glue again, and I'm going to use that to help secure my sentiment to the hot foil ornament that we created. I love how we have that contrast going from the background panel to the white ornament part to the fully foiled ornament to the sentiment. Like, it just keeps going back and forth between those colors and using that beautiful aura glimmer foil. So pretty. So in order to make the ornament look more like an ornament, I decided to bring in some of this Altenew metallic thread. This metallic thread comes in a 3-pack, and they have like a champagne gold color that is not as brassy, but it looks great and works very well with this aura glimmer foil. So I'm going to make a bow out of several loops of this metallic thread, and I'm going to glue that down and secure the bow to the top of our ornament. Reverse tweezers make a great tool to use that can hold things in place while the liquid adhesive is drying and securing everything in place. So I put my reverse tweezers on my bow. I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. And when that's done, here is the completed card. I absolutely love the way this came together. I love that rainbow shimmer that we get with that Aura Glimmer foil, and I hope you do as well. While I had my Glimmer machine out, I decided to keep playing around with this Geo Snowflake hot foil plate and some other hot foils. And I made a second card, and this one has a poinsettia on it that is also a set from Spellbinders. Well, that's it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed yourself. If you have, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. You can always find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Delta Crafter, as well as on my website, thedeltacrafter.com. Until next time, everyone, enjoy!